Hello, fellow YouTubers. I'm back just to give a general update as I usually do, mostly for myself, I guess. So, I just got back from my vacation era, I guess you could say. So, I would say in July, that's when I had, basically was when I had my most vacation. So, somewhere in the middle of July, I was in Denver, and then near the end of July, oh wait, what was it the other way around? I don't know, I think it was like early July is when I started Denver. I'm not really keeping track of the timing, but no, I was in Denver in June, sorry about that, late June, and then later on in July, sometime in the middle of July, I went to Seattle with my girlfriend, and that was a phenomenal, I had a phenomenal time in both states. Just let this car go by. Let's see, and then I don't really feel burned out anymore. I feel really good, and you know, everything's working out again. Back to my home. So, in doing this, I was able to exercise more, eat better, become more relaxed, more chilled out a little bit, think a little bit more clearly about what's going on in my life, stuff like that. But and so I actually went a lot of hiking in Denver, Colorado. Well, specifically Colorado, not necessarily Denver, but around that area. But yeah, I did a lot of hiking and running and biking, specifically mountain biking. I fell down. I got this huge bruise on my right breast muscle, chest, if you want to call it that. Pecs, if you want to call it that too. But so I went out there, did a bunch of very physically, demanding things, and then I just basically put away everything related to my normal things, renovations, the stress at work and stuff like that. And, I do my own engineering. Like, right now I'm trying to figure this whole thing out with stability of levitation systems. And it's got me thinking a lot. It brings me back to the concept of buckling. What happens when a column actually, specifically an elastic column, specifically is unstable. You have to ask the question. We were taught to analyze the system just as one single state, where basically the geometric, the deflection of it will cause an induced moment, essentially, to want it to be unstable. And there's a point at which the load is so much that it will basically just deflect and become unstable, and the resisting moment cannot handle that column load. And that's what causes buckling. But there's only a certain, if you look at it from a multi-state, that is a state space of dynamics, a dynamical system of state space, you'll actually find that equilibrium is maintained during the entire time. There's just only a certain differential time in which it's unstable. Anyway, this is where I've arrived at, where I'm trying to figure out what to do in terms of levitation. And I'm still writing it up, and I'm gonna create a model for it. But anyway, that's beyond the scope of what I'm talking about. But the thing is, I went to Colorado, did a lot of mountain biking, fell a few times, but mostly I fell one time. That was it. Just made me think that I was gonna have to go to the hospital. But really, I just got really bruised. And then I also lost 11 pounds, and so it got me to think about a lot of stuff. So the thing is, there's also a hold on a second. So along along this process of losing 11 pounds, I'm still, going out and running a lot. Like, in fact, I'm on my way to my running area right now. And I'm going to, do a 3-mile run. This is a Saturday, so I'm just going to go do it. And I mean, I do it every other day. But what I noticed is in my habits is there's a certain mental shift that occurred. And I explained this to my brother. I kind of realized that, and I don't think I ever approached eating this way. And it sounds obvious, but when you see when you think about it, right? When you eat something, normally, at least this is what I do, is I think of it in terms of a behavior pattern. I think of it like, well, you better be eating good, and I think of it like either you're eating good or you got to eat something that tastes good, and it's got to be a habitual thing. Whereas now I just thought about it a little bit more, and I determined that it makes more sense to view it like my grandparents viewed it unconsciously. What they did was they intentionally took a walk after work or at the end of the day, because in their minds, and everybody knows this, and it's obvious, but nobody sees it as a fundamental thing. But you got to look at it this way: anything you put in your body, right? It's like a physical thing. You have to detach yourself from it. Even though it's in your body and it's part of you, you got to detach yourself from it. So you got to look at it as it's something that just got to come out, sort of like you're pregnant, and it has to come out. So my mental shift when it came to food is like, let's say if my girlfriend, because she's really good at cooking, by the way, she's from El Salvador, and she makes the bombest foods. If I have like the most greasiest nachos in the world, right? Then what I'm gonna think for at least, and this is more conscious now because I started doing this, but what I'm gonna think is that food better not be in my stomach longer than one day. And I'm gonna do everything I can in my will to get this shit out, like it's some kind of baby growing in your stomach or something growing in your stomach. And so that's been a mental shift for me, and I would say it's been working pretty well, because a lot of times when you think this way, you're just gonna, the more you think this way, the less likely you're gonna try to eat anything that's gonna be hard to digest, and it, like in the back of your head, you're like, oh, this is gonna be impossible. So that's been a mental shift, and it's been helping me. I don't know how long this is gonna last, but I'll tell you, I'm down to 189. I'm 6 foot 0 inches, 5'11". Don't tell anyone. But at this weight, I just have a little bit of sagging fat. It depends on your perception. But yeah, I mean, I'm fairly slender. I would say I was getting a little bit out of control when I was like 205. I was like, something's got to give. But I'm not going to stop. Like, I'm just going to keep exercising, doing what I got to do. Let's see. And like the other thing too that's important is that it makes you feel like the heavier you are, the more gross you feel. And so it really just, it's one of those things where you don't want to just go in the direction of increasing, because if you're not in the direction of increasing, it's really hard to be stable. It's really hard to be at the middle. And if you're in the middle, it's a very depressing thing. If you're just barely making it. Whereas if you're increasing, not only is it depressing, but it's just like bad in general. So you might as well be in the somewhat decreasing side. And so you should always be conscious of that. I just thought I would throw all that out there. Now, obviously there is a specific healthy weight, and if you maintain that, maybe it doesn't matter how you feel. I don't know. I'm not a health expert, but I'll tell you that right now, it's I was getting to a bad point. So the decreasing direction makes perfect sense. I think there was also a point when I was about, relative to now, about, I think it was 15 pounds lighter. No, I think I was 20 pounds lighter. This was back when I started working. Like around when I started working, and all I was eating was yogurt. That worked for sure, because I was just eating yogurt. But and I was having these panic attacks because I was so scared. I was losing so much weight, and that's pretty much what was happening. But the thing is, at that weight, I was basically, you know, yeah, I was like 170 or something, 169 or something, and that may seem like average, but there's something about the food, the composition of my body, and it made me feel like, kind of like lightheaded a lot. I don't know how to put it. I was almost feeling like, I don't know, weak, I guess. And there would be moments where I would feel like I was having a panic attack. And I blame that on being skinny. Because there's no way in hell right now I don't have those anymore. And I never had those those panic attacks prior when I was bigger too. So anyway, I think weight is sort of in the eye of the beholder in many ways. Like, you know, if you're muscular, obviously